Hi YouTube, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can find me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. So today we're going to shoot another video. The last one is still uploading. It's probably the longest video or the longest time it's ever taken to upload a video. This thing's been going on since yesterday morning, about 6:30, and it's about 11 o'clock today. So hopefully it'll be done pretty soon, and I can get it up so you guys can see it. But anyway, that one's on where to get your straight razor. This one today is going to be on what I like in a straight razor. Not so much what you might like, but what I like, and that way, you know, maybe you can take that and decide, you know, take it into consideration when you're picking one out for yourself. But first of all, I just got to show off this little chainsaw. I picked this up at a yard sale a couple of days ago, maybe about a week ago or so. It's a little bitty Homelight XL automatic oiling, Textron ignition. It came with this 14-inch bar, and the guy had like a 16-inch chain on it. I'd picked up a Mac 120, I think, something like that. And it came with, I think it had 7 14-inch chains in there. And so I picked, and it's kind of a basket case. There's a whole bunch of stuff wrong with it. I'm probably just going to use it as a part saw. But this one, I picked it up at a yard sale, $24, I think. He wanted 25, but I didn't have an extra one, so he settled on 24. So yeah, 24 bucks, and I had to modify the bar a little bit. The oiler wasn't working, so they've got like a little duckbill valve inside the oil tank that was missing, so I had to get a new one of those. It's still got the gas in it that he had in it, which you know, it's probably not the freshest gas in the world, but it runs pretty good, and now it oils, and now the bars fit up right to the saw, and got the chain all sharpened up. So I'm excited to put it to work here in a couple of weeks. I've got to cut some, I've got a big old gnarly box elder burl tree that it needs to come down. It's not in a very good spot, so I was gonna cut it down anyway, but I got to looking at it, and man, that thing has got so much burl on it, it's not even funny. It's probably 45 foot tall tree. I'd say probably 2.5 foot diameter at the base, and it's a gorgeously grotesque tree. I mean, it's got so many burls on it and twists. Like I said, that big tree, and I don't think there's 2 foot of straight wood on it anywhere. So it's going to be really exciting to bring that thing down and you know, cut it up into smaller blocks, and then get it put away for seasoning, and then, you know, cut it up and stabilize the nice blocks, and hopefully you'll see them on a couple of knives here in, oh, I don't know, probably a year or two, something like that. So let's get the chainsaw out of the way, and let's talk about some razors. Okay, so what I like in a straight razor, that oiler's working so good it's actually dripping oil onto the bench top. So what I like in a straight razor, you know, I'm a normal size guy. I know I'm normal because this is what I'm used to. I'm 6 foot tall, 220 pounds, and I've been this way for about the last 15 years or so. So that's pretty much normal to me. I don't know what's normal to everybody else, but, and then I've got fairly decent sized hands. You know, when I go to get a new pair of leather work gloves, you know, it seems like I never can get the same brand 2 times in a row. But I just go into the store and pick them out, and usually it's a tight fit in a large, and, you know, a pretty good fit in an extra large. Just kind of depends on who manufactures the gloves. So I've got okay size hands, and I find most of your vintage razors and the new production razors to be on the tiny side. Like this one right here. Let me hit the, there we go. So this is my boy's razor. I told you in the last video or two I'd probably show it off pretty soon. It's a German-made razor. Says Jas T. Scott. It's a nice little 5/8, and it just feels dainty to me. I mean, there's not a whole lot to hold on to. My hands have got a little bit of shake. It's probably the last 5 or 10 years or so they've been shaking a little bit more than what they used to, but you know, it doesn't affect you know, my normal work or anything. But I do notice when I'm shaving with a straight razor, these light little bitty dainty razors, I just don't hold them quite as steady as I hold a larger, a little bit heavier razor. And when I mean larger and heavier, most of the razors that I make for myself are 7/8, 8/8. They weigh about, well, I weighed it right before I started this video, but I forgot what it was. So my favorite razor is 2.65 ounces. And it's that one right there. And it's got a big old monkey tail on it. I've got jimping on the tang. It's 7/8 or an 8/8, something like that. And fairly large one-piece Cocobolo scales. So like I said, that was 2.6 ounces, I believe. A new Dovo, which this is actually the one that I shaved with this morning just because I thought, you know, it's been a while since I used one of those. You know, it's a 6/8, so a fairly decent size regular razor, and it's 1.85 ounces. So, you know, I just like a razor that's a little bit on the heavier side. I mean, I don't want to work out to have to pick it up, but, you know, I want a little bit of weight to kind of steady that shake in my hand. And I want enough, I want more to hold on to. So if you look at, let me pull this back up. So you look at these, like I said, Vance's little razor, and then you look at another one of my favorites. See the size difference there? I mean, this right here just gives me a whole lot more to hold on to than this does. This just feels dainty. This just feels, well, normal, because that's what I've been shaving with for the last year or so. As far as grind goes, you know, I started off thinking that the full hollow was the grind for me, or the extra full hollow, or whatever it was, just as thin as I could possibly get it. And what I came to find out was, along with the slightly heavier razor that's a little bit larger, I like a little bit thicker of a grind. I have ground them extremely thin. I don't think I have the thinnest one I've ever ground, but this is probably my thickest one that I've made that I enjoy, which I'd call that you know, a 1/3 hollow, something like that. My favorite razor, this one in Cocoa, I would call that a full hollow the way that I like to grind it, and that's about as thin as what I would want to grind for my personal tastes. You compare that one to a, you know, the Dovo's thin, but it's not like extreme thin. This crop is pretty extreme as far as how thin it is. And you can probably see that little shake that's in my hands, but so I like a little bit more meat in the grind than these extreme hollow production or vintage razors. One is that these have got this stabilizer ground in here, and I don't really enjoy grinding that, first off. You know, to get those 2 steps in there and to get them matched up and everything all nice and tight, you know, to where it looks really good, I don't really enjoy that part. And then also, once you start getting them that thin, they start becoming kind of touchy a little bit. So when you go to hone your razor, everybody always talks about edge retention. Okay, so edge retention is, in as far as a razor is concerned, would be the razor's ability to be sharp and then, or, you know, shave ready, and then to hold that edge for 6 months, a year, 2 years, however long, right? But you also, at some point, no matter how good the edge retention is, at some point you're going to have to hone it, because it's going to get dull sooner or later. I mean, I don't think that anybody's come up with a knife or a razor that never requires sharpening and that still cuts good. So sooner or later you're going to have to hone them. If it's not easy to hone, then then you're either going to send it off to somebody else or to have them hone it, or you're going to just keep plugging away with a dull razor, or you're just going to get sick of it and it's going to sit in the bottom of a drawer somewhere. Well, we don't want them sitting in a drawer, we want them out working. So edge retention and ease of sharpening kind of go hand in hand. When I'm talking about tough to hone with those really, really thin razors, isn't so much the hardness of the steel, it's the grind geometry. Okay, so a lot of these razors, when you're grinding them, I mean, they're thin. Okay, so like this crop here, we could put a mic on it, but just to guess, I'm saying that that's, less than 10,000ths of an inch all the way up to there. So you've got this real thin ribbon of steel that's a 1/2 inch wide or a little bit more. And when you go to hone that, you have to put enough pressure on the razor, on the stone, to be able to get the stone to cut the steel. Well, some of these, when you get that thin, you're borderline the amount of pressure that is needed to get the stone to cut is the same amount of pressure where that steel starts flexing away from the stone. When you put so much pressure that you flex the steel away from the stone, or the edge away from the stone, now what you're doing is you're actually honing the side of the grind, not your edge bevel. Okay, so and that just kind of makes honing not quite as much fun. So if you leave a little bit extra steel in the grind, go for a 1/2 hollow, or just something that's not quite so extreme, and I think it'll be an awful lot easier to shave with. And honestly, that extra little bit of steel is an extra little bit of weight. With a straight razor, you're not looking at all the other factors like with a knife or a rifle or something. So let's say a rifle, for instance. Okay, you can take a 10-pound target rifle, and boy, you can hold really steady with that rifle. There's very little recoil because you got enough mass in the rifle to absorb it. And you can hold it really steady. Now that target rifle might be really great at shooting, but you might not want to take it on an elk hunt where you're going to hike 5 miles that day and then have to hike 5 miles back to the truck. At that point, you might want a shorter, lighter rifle that you might not shoot quite as well as the 10-pound target rifle, but you don't have to carry all that extra weight, in addition to your pack through the snow, all that kind of stuff. Well, a straight razor, we're not carrying it. The straight razor, it gets shipped to you, and then you carry it from your bathroom, or from the stand on your dresser into the bathroom. You shave with it, you strop it, and then you carry it right back to the stand on your dresser. So if it weighs another ounce or two, that weight doesn't really matter. With a straight razor, all you're worried about is how it shaves, and then how it hones again, how easy it is to maintain, and the looks that you like of it. In addition to that, when you go to look for a brush, because I make brushes also, and I brought my boy's brush out here along with one of my favorite ones. Like I said, my boy, he's quite a bit smaller than I am. I don't know if he's going to get any bigger. I guess it doesn't really matter. But he's about 5'7" and 140 pounds, something like that. And his hands are quite a bit smaller than mine are. And he thinks that, the factory brush, this is the one that you get in the kit in the Vanderhagen. Comes with a brush, a little bowl, and a puck of soap, and it comes with a razor and a brush stand also. But these brushes right here, this one's not so bad, but I have seen some of them that were like half this long. And so you got this little bitty thing to try to hold on to while you're whipping up your lather and while you're applying it. there again, I like a little bit larger of a handle because it gives me something more to hold on to. This is probably my favorite brush so far. It's a Badger. I can't remember the classes of them, but it's a nice one. No, can't remember the how they grade the Badger hair right now. But anyway, it's I want to say 25 or a 30 millimeter knot, which is the width of it. And I set it into a piece of a nice piece of cocobolo, and then even have a my friend, boy, I'm just not doing so good today. Jamie, she makes these little coins that you can inset on the bottom of your brush. So of course this one's got my mark on it, and I made it so it gets the mark on there. And that really is nice because when you set it down on the stand, it gives it a nice, or on the counter, it gives it a nice flat spot. But anyway, so we're going the oversized handle. So I like an oversized handle that, you know, gives you plenty of handle to hold on to the thing. Like I said, so that's what I like in a straight razor. You know, you might like, now granted, I wear a mustache and a goatee because I wasn't blessed with very much of a chin at all. So when I shave, it looks like I just don't have a chin at all. So, or when I shave this off, it looks like I don't have a chin at all. So I keep this little goatee here, so it kind of makes me look like a chin, makes it look like I have a chin. You know, I wasn't blessed like Jay Leno was, you know, with a big old massive chin like the Crimson Chin on the cartoons. Anyways, so you know, I'm just shaving the sides of my face and then up under my neck. If I was shaving my mustache off, you know, I might want a little bit slimmer razor, or might not. Honestly, I've never done it. But anyway, so I like the 7/8, 8/8, an ounce or two heavier over, you know, a factory Dovo or Gold Dollar, long monkey tails, you know, so that you can get quite a bit more to grab a hold of. So this one right here, I can put 2 full fingers plus extra room there. So I can either go like this or hold like that. The long monkey tail doesn't really get in the way. It kind of comes up. So you're grabbing. There we go. So when you come to do your against the grain up underneath your neck, you can pinch the sides of the tang, and then that monkey tail rests up inside the palm of your hand, so it gives you 2 points of contact on the tang when you go to shave. That way it gives you a little bit more control. And I like a little bit heavier grind. That goes hand in hand with the extra weight, and then also it makes it not quite so touchy or fussy when you go to hone the thing. Anyways, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. That's the first time I ever asked you to do a thumbs up. Leave your comments below. You know, if you're new to shaving and you got some questions, you can leave me a comment what you might like to see on the next video. I've got probably 10 more of these. I haven't written them down or kind of planned it out yet, but there's going to be quite a few more of them because just there's so much to cover with these straight razors. If you're having problems, like I said, leave me a comment, something you might like to see in the next video. Let me know if you shave with a straight razor, if you enjoy it, what kind, why you like that particular kind, you know, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, this is Joe Calton from Calton Cutlery. You can find me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you next time.